Now we're
Wow.
live. Hello, pals. Welcome to Coins Live here on twitch.tv/Andy Barr Comedy. I am joined, of course, by Sam Nicoresti, as expected. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Hello, lovely to have you with us again. Delving back into the thorny, mucky business of coins and currency. Didn't get everything covered last week, so I thought we'd have you. I thought I would have you back on the stream just to make sure that we have dotted every I, crossed every T, and peered neath every available rock and/or stone for any other things relating to coins and currency that might need to be covered. How's your week been?
Well, first off, more than happy to be back on the stream. It's lovely to be, getting back into the grubby world of currency, and it's a pleasure to be invited back on to help with the spelling of words.
Yeah.
I've had a week has been good. I can't remember anything that happened in it, but I'm still here, still feeling pretty peppy.
Wonderful.
So we assume it was a good one.
Are there any words that you would like to clarify the spelling of up top?
Sesquipedaliaphobia.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. I probably shouldn't. I don't know why I launched into that one.
No, it
Not
does
really
seem
100% sure.
something of an own goal, but
Yeah. Answered it if you want.
hmm.
Hold on. I reckon it's SESQUILLOFP. Sorry, PHOIBA.
Well, I wasn't keeping track of that, but let's bring it up on the
Aliophobia.
sesquipedaliophobia. I think sesquipedalophobia, uncountable fear of
Yeah,
long
as it
words.
says, same as hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia is the full word.
Right. Okay.
HIPPO. Everyone knows that. Hippo.
Okay.
Poto.
Yep.
We can do poto. POTO. Monstro. MONSTRO. I suppose, and then back into sesquipedaliophobia. SES.
Yeah.
Q.
I think you. I hate to pull you up on this, but I think that you implied
Yeah.
that there was a double L in there somewhere.
Yeah, I did actually,
Yeah.
and I think I don't know why I said that.
Hmm.
All I can say is that I've suspected for a long time that I might actually be dyslexic, if
Right.
not also dyspraxic.
Okay.
So I don't know why I've made the idea that I can spell words my thing here.
Hmm. I mean, you have done that fairly explicitly, but I am a charitable man, and I'm perfectly willing to permit you to roll that back, and we can get on to the business at hand, which is coins.
Okay, you want to leave the word stuff?
Well, we can revisit it later if it seems like it's a potential thread which offers more at its end than we had previously discovered. Then we can get back into that. But there are other threads to be explored, I think is what I'm saying. The chief amongst those is saying hello to people in the comments. That's one thread that I think needs to be reviewed at this point. Pissing Myself Funny Bear is in the chat. Hello, Pissing Myself. Lovely to have you with us. As is Josie Russell. There are, of course, a few other names in the sort of chat thing. I don't really know whether this indicates people who are in the chat, people who are not in the chat but have been, or just random account names that exist or have existed. But anyway, Al Jazzers, who I think might be Al Jazzers Jones, a long time. Yes, Al Jazzers is in fact jumping out from the murky account name only world to the world of those who have a displayed account name and have also put a comment in the chat. Al Jazzers says, "All right, Chief," to which, of course, we respond, "Hello, boss." Or some of us do. I do. I have done.
You would go with hello, boss.
Hello, boss. Yeah, I think hello, boss. If anyone else, Josie Russell says hello to everyone. Um,
Mhm.
Pissing myself
Sorry,
suggests. Go on.
I was just going to say, for me, that's confusing because if you're the chief and they're the boss, who's in charge?
Well, I think that's just it's contextual, but I think we are through those greetings, we're acknowledging that ultimately there is equality, parity between us, but that in certain circumstances one will assume authority over the other, not in a sort of jockeying for position kind of way, but just due to sort of situational, contextual differences.
Yeah. So is to me, first instinct, chief
Yep.
is greater than boss.
Okay. Yeah.
So would you agree with that? Go chief boss, and then I don't know where leader would come. King above boss and chief.
Yes. Yes. I would probably put king above boss and chief. I think perhaps right. Okay. Perhaps if we were to so obviously the present circumstance is that Al is watching the stream, which is it's on my Twitch channel. I have set it up. I have decided that the topic, the timing, the the various different sort of frames on the Twitch display. If the circumstance were to be bird watching, and I was in I believe Shropshire is where Al lives. Forgive me, please, Al, if I'm wrong. And we were going out watching birds. I would probably call Al chief in that instance, and be
You
perfectly
would be
happy
boss.
to be referred to as boss. Yeah.
Okay. And so Al is like acknowledged as being a chief of bird watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
they call them? Tweeters. You got the what's it called? Got the jizz.
The jizz.
In bird watching, having a knack for identifying birds is called having the jizz.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. Ask Al. He's the chief.
I've not heard that before. Al, is that correct?
Yeah.
Have you got the jizz?
Have you got the jizz, Al?
Oh, that's really, really. Al says that is new to him. So maybe
Well, you can look it up.
he has the jizz and doesn't know it, or
Yeah.
doesn't yet
Untapped jizz.
have the jizz. We've got a few chat messages to catch up on. Jazzers says that I am usually chief, but we can share that today, which I'm happy to do. I'm happy to bestow upon you the title of chief. Josie Russell says CEO, coin executive officer, which I'm also happy to.
That is above boss.
Yeah. Dancing Monkey 69 says that is the basic principle of Bitcoin. I think it's the sharing of. Although let's have a little.
Oh, right. Okay.
Of
Not having the
Bitcoin.
jizz.
I don't know, but each Bitcoin is basically a computer file which is stored in a digital wallet app on a smartphone or computer. People can send Bitcoins or part of one to your digital wallet, and you can send Bitcoins to other people. Every single transaction is recorded in a public list called the blockchain. So there you go.
Yeah, it's basically the principle of all currencies, just put a little bit more explicitly that they're essentially worthless, meaningless, things that we agree to give value to just through our shared use of them.
Yeah.
Like jewels, at their basis, jewels are only valuable because they're pretty to apes.
Mm. Are jewels pretty to all apes?
You'd have to give one to, like a monkey and see what it did with it, wouldn't you? Or you'd have to give a chimpanzee like a sapphire and a banana,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of watch what happens.
Well, I found this. I don't know if you can see
Did a
that.
chimp invent jewelry?
Did a
Wow.
chimp
Okay,
invent
yeah, I can.
jewelry? Scientists
What's the
study
consensus?
chimps that wear grass earrings. Val.
I wouldn't call that jewelry. I'm sorry, but no.
Val, a male chimpanzee at Zambia's Chimfunchi Wildlife Orphanage Trust Sanctuary, wearing a single blade of grass hanging from one ear, being groomed by a female named Kathy. Over in Zambia, there's a chimpanzee named Julie who has launched her own line of jewellery. And it's a howling success. Now, just about everybody wants a piece of it. Julie's innovation came to the attention of scientists a few years ago when Edwin van Leeuwen, sorry to any Dutch people
That is Dutch.
in the chat. I do not have the greatest familiarity with Dutch pronunciation, so that's probably of the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, the MPIEA, in the Netherlands, noticed something different about Julie. She wandered around Zambia's Chimfunchi Wildlife Orphanage Trust sanctuary with a single blade of grass hanging from one ear. It wasn't an accident. I don't know how they ascertained that.
Yeah.
She wore it all the time, so if it fell out, she had to replace it. So fair enough. That's
Yeah, that's how we know it was a purposeful act.
yeah. Whether she was playing, grooming, sleeping, or doing whatever the chimps do in the jungle, she had that blade of grass hanging from one ear. There she is again. That's Julie. Her son, Jack, was observed wearing a blade of grass hanging from one ear. Soon, Julie's friends Kathy, Miracle, and Val followed suit. So that doesn't answer the question of whether jewels, sort of shiny gems, appeal to apes, but I feel like we have learnt something there.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if I bought any of that article really. For one, my main bugbear would be to say that an ape has invented jewelry. You know, you can't then put that ape to be a living ape in like whenever this was, what, 2017, because jewelry has been around before. It would have to be like an ape, 3,000 years ago, put a bit of grass in their ear, and then some like Svarkovsky. I don't know why he's still alive back then, but do you know what I mean? It would have to be.
Yeah.
He'd have to be first.
Okay, so you don't think...
I didn't put that very well, but
No.
I don't think that counts as I don't think you can invent something if you just think of it after everyone else has thought of it, and especially not if it's just putting a bit of grass on your head.
So, and you're not even going to give chimpanzees a bit of slack here.
No, well, they wouldn't give any to me, would they?
Right. Okay. So, a chimpanzee, you have walked into a clearing in the jungle, and you arrive to see a chimpanzee putting the finishing touches to a working car. Would you would you not give the chimpanzee any plaudits for having, effectively invented a car?
Yeah. If it was a working,
You haven't come up with that. You haven't come up with that. You have just.
I mean, I would definitely.
We've already done that,
wouldn't-
mate. Sling your hook.
Okay, listen. Honestly, obviously, yes, I'm impressed. I've got a lot of questions. I'm definitely not saying that the chimpanzee has invented the car.
It's invented a car.
That's not inventing. You have to. Inventing is the creation of the concept of the thing, isn't it?
Right.
It's made a car. Very impressive. It's not bad. It's very impressive, especially given presumably the limited resources of the jungle.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of car is it? You know, hatchback, convertible,
It
automatic.
it's it's a smart car
Okay,
because
wow. That is, I mean,
because parking opportunities are pretty limited in the jungle. It's been invented in a clearing, but obviously, unless it's kind of quite small and manoeuvrable, it can't really get out of the clearing. The chimp has thought of that. You can see dotted around the clearing a couple like a Land Rover and a
so it's
limo.
tried a couple of
It's had
variations.
a couple of goes, and then it's arrived at
Okay.
the key issue.
Yeah. Limo is definitely a dead end in the
Yeah,
evolution of the jungle car.
yeah.
I would
Well,
say
I
that
think
is not gonna.
it's a dead end as far as cars are concerned as well, really, isn't it? I don't think they're very. We're getting bogged down here.
Yeah, we are. Sorry.
Just catching up a little bit on the chat. Birds are more interested in jewels than apes, says Dancing Monkey, who also later says, have to go, the Wi-Fi is terrible in the corner of my bedroom. So goodbye, Comrade Monkey.
Doesn't stop me.
No, no, it certainly doesn't. Josie says, I love how these chimps have middle-aged people names, which they absolutely do. Al Jazzers has come back from doing some research and says jizz, or giss, is the overall impression or appearance of a bird garnered from such features as shape, posture, flying style, or other habitual movements, size and coloration combined with voice, habitat, and location. So we've got that. Pissing myself says
Yeah, but the phrase is
having the
jizz.
jizz. Okay, I would look that up, but I don't think that it would. Certainly not live. I would look it up and then maybe pop it over to a viewable. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, I can go for it 'cause I'm not on.
Mm.
And also, I'm going to say I think that bird watchers are called twitchers.
Yes, I think you're
That's
right
more
there.
of a stab in the dark.
I think that's correct.
Hmm.
Pissing myself says, by this logic, the inventor of grills was the first person to get spinach stuck in their teeth. Which I think is a fair comment. Taking your.
I don't really understand the logic of that. Do you mean
Uh,
like grills in the teeth, or like George
yeah,
Foreman?
grills in the teeth.
Um, no, I don't follow the analogy.
Well, it's something stuck in your teeth, isn't it? Or an adornment
Yeah.
to the teeth. So pissing myself
Okay.
is suggesting that the first person who ever got something stuck in their teeth was in fact the inventor of the grill.
I'm back on it. Yeah, I think that's an argument in favour of what I'm saying, so I'm all for it.
Well, no, pissing myself is prefaced this by saying by this logic, thus implying that they feel that your logic is bullshit.
Why? Because that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that just because an ape put a bit of grass in its hair doesn't mean it invented jewellery. And that's exactly what Pissing Myself is saying as well, that putting a bit of spinach in your teeth doesn't mean that you've invented braces.
No, I think
See what I mean?
no, I think pissing myself is on my team here because you are. I don't know. Oh, more in agreement with Sam than the article. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I was wrong. I hold my hands up. You can't see both of them, but I am holding both of my hands up and accepting that I am wrong. That's another thing that this stream is very much about. It's about accepting responsibility and being held accountable, and I feel that I have been held accountable and then accepted responsibility. So I hope that we can all get this behind us and move forward. Josie Russell says, from Gem Society, the earliest traces of jewellery can be traced to the civilizations that bloomed in the Mediterranean and what is now Iran from around 3000 to 400 BC. Josie has then located
Wikipedia.
Josie has then located something which appears to contradict this. They found something saying the earliest known jewellery was made by Neanderthals dating from 115,000 years ago. So that is the jury is out on that one at the moment. Hopefully we'll have an answer by the end of the stream, and hopefully I will be able to really crystallise in my mind what the question is, because at the moment I don't know. Jazzers says a Twitcher is actually someone who goes out specifically looking for rare birds. General bird watchers are just called birders.
Birders and twitchers. I got to say, I'm on a bird watching slang website at the moment, and it is incredibly Freudian. I've always thought this about birds because of the actual names that they give to them.
Yeah.
Just to give you a quick example here, a yellow-rumped warbler is also known as a butterbutt. Or when you dip out, which is fail to see a particular bird, and someone else doesn't dip out, that's called gripping someone off. So you get gripped off by someone who sees a bird that you don't see.
Right.
And you can be intentionally gripped off. That also comes down to a bird having the jizz. And if you see a particularly good bird, you can be crippled by it. You can be crippled by a mega tick, which is a mega tick is like a really rare bird.
Right.
So there's all kinds of stuff going on here.
So someone can grip you off, and then they get crippled.
Yeah.
Right.
And I will say that the other one I know from this is that most British birds, because we have lots of little small brown birds, they're called little brown jobs, like sparrows and so on. Isn't it strange?
Yeah. Yeah, that is strange.
These guys are just horny.
Al
Very
says.
horny.
Al says that's specific only to the woodcock, though. Josie Russell thinks that butterbutt is cute, and Al says that is true. Lyndon B. Johnson.
That's a nice one. I like that.
Yeah.
I can also tell you that shorebirds are called rock peppers, and song sparrows are called snogs.
Oh, that's nice. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
No, and when I was a teenager, I used to have this debate. I think people were tricking me, but someone convinced me once successfully that there is no such thing as a baby pigeon, and that pigeons just give birth to themselves fully formed.
Right.
And I believed that for quite a number of years, even though it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
They'd have to sort of burst out of the old pigeon like a exploding babushka.
We've been having a chat in the house about eels, because apparently nobody knows where they are born.
This is the headline you're looking at.
Yeah, I've been looking at that for quite a while. I was wondering when you'd catch on. Al Jones says he saw a baby pigeon in a nest on a windowsill in Norwich. Yeah, that's some anecdotal evidence that absolutely knocks your theory into a cocked hat.
Yeah. I mean, my theory was never that solid.
No. Oh, great. Okay, so the loudest monkeys have the smallest balls. That is absolutely not in our wheelhouse at all. We are, of course, today focusing back on with a laser focus. We've got our magnifying glass out, and there is a laser positioned above the magnifying glass, coming through the magnifying glass, and is being magnified down onto the topic of coins. I don't know how that enables us to have a closer look at it. It probably just means that we've aimed a stronger laser at coins, but maybe we can glance sort of askance through part of the magnifying glass and see coins.
It's a bit in GoldenEye,
Of course,
I think it
I've
is, in
actually got
GoldenEye.
notes on display as well. So let's just put a through. Please go ahead. I'm just going to put some coins out, but
Okay, I
and
was gonna
then
say I was just gonna add my own
yeah, no, please do.
metaphor to that, and so I think it's GoldenEye, and GoldenEye's got Bond strapped down to the metal slab, and he's got the
You
laser.
are wrong. It is Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, that's the guy, Goldfinger,
Yeah.
and the laser's coming up towards James Bond's crotch, and
Yep.
then the camera zooms in, and on James Bond's cock is written the word coins,
Yeah.
and then the laser goes right through it, and it sort of it bifurcates,
Yeah.
and coins come spilling out.
Of course, for one very brief
Happy
moment,
days.
as the laser is dealing with James Bond's testicles, he would be the loudest monkey, wouldn't he?
Oh, and I can in Japanese, the word for testicles is kintama, which means golden balls.
Does it?
Yes,
Right.
which is also in Japan David Beckham's nickname.
Of course. That was his
Testicles.
nickname over here as well, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
I've laid some coins out for. Let me just see if I can zoom in here to enable. Let's brought up WhatsApp. Don't need to do that. Droid cam needs to zoom
This is
in.
son of the
There.
police.
Yes. Sorry, the police were outside. Not for me, obviously, but here we are. So let's go with this coin first up. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more on that fella. There we are. It is 10 of something. Let me just have a look.
What's that? Is it Arabic?
Well, yes, I think it is Arabic. It's got the star in the centre, so I think that would probably be Morocco?
What's it saying? It 1415.
14, 15, 1995. On the other side, on the well, I mean, we've already gone into this fairly sticky argument. Josie Russell also assumes Morocco from the start. So this is presumably the front of the coin because it's got a fella's face on it, but it's kind of like you have to flip it over that way in order to get the other one the right way up. You can't just turn it over.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't
Yes.
know whether that's an intentional feature or probably is. They're not going
That
to do it
is
by accident, are
interesting.
they?
How many coins have that? I don't know if I've really.
Well, let's see. I've got a couple of others here.
Let me
I've
get a
got
coin out here.
one of the Hong Kong coins that I believe we covered last week. Sorry, I just need to bring that into the camera. If you do it like that, and that's bollocks. That doesn't work. So you need to turn this one over like that. This one's got what appears to be a small amount of ink on it. I don't know whether how coin collectors would feel about that. Probably quite bad.
Bit of vinegar. Get that off.
Yeah, I mean, would that I could be bothered.
That's interesting. So that rotates along the vertical axis.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen many that do it on the horizontal. That's a new one on me. Kind of interesting concept. I wonder what like if we took all the coins in the world, what the average would be, horizontal or vertical.
If you took all the coins in the world, how much?
Well, you would be rich.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much money do you think you'd have in US dollars?
I think it's something. It's in the trillions. It's like 12. No, hold on. I have looked this up before. You know the amount of like global currency in circulation. Obviously, Bitcoin scuppers it a bit now. All these new currencies. I want to say 25 trillion. I'm going to say that.
Well, I've put things in motion. Wow! I.e. a Google search. This is so there's approximately 37 trillion. How much money is there in the world? There is approximately US dollars 37 trillion in circulation. This includes all the physical money and the money deposited in savings and checking accounts. So that doesn't, I don't think that quite answers our question.
Well, the amount of physical, it does, the amount of physical coin, like cash currency. So I don't think.
But then added to that is and the money deposited in savings and checking accounts, and I don't know whether that.
Okay. Well, then I think 25 trillion was pretty bang on the buck.
Wow.
Cool, 25 trill.
To imagine oneself to be bang on the buck in such large questions of scale displays to me a supreme arrogance.
I have had a sip of beer.
That's probably it, actually. What are you drinking?
That can do it for me.
Yeah.
Heine.
Heine.
Big bottle of Heine today.
I've got a Whitstable.
With the star?
Yes, of course. Well, yes, that would be right at home on the right at home on this Moroccan coin. 10
Nice.
coin. What is the Moroccan currency?
Coin. How many Heinekens could you get for a 10?
Dirham. It is a dirham, and 10 dirham gets you 80p. So if I say I have another coin here, another Moroccan coin, I don't know whether I have, but if I did, then I think there's a chance that you might be able to get one can from, say, Lidl. That might get you an Excelsior.
What, with 20 dirhams?
Yeah.
A can of Excelsior?
Yeah, I reckon.
What's Excelsior? Is that
Excelsior,
like the own brand stuff, like White Lightning?
Cheapy little own brand Lightning. I think it's Lidl.
It's strange, isn't it, that they always give cheap beers and ciders, very Nordic.
Tell you what, mate.
Kind of like, yes.
In 2012, you would have been able to get a can of Excelsior for just that one coin, as it was 59p for a 500ml can.
That was back when we had a binge drinking culture, wasn't it? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was the big scare at the time.
Not like now.
No. What's it at the moment? The virus, I suppose.
Yeah, it's all bets are off. Virus. Josie says, I wonder if
the papers.
I wonder if it flips horizontally because in Arabic they read right to left.
Holy moly! Okay, so what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to try and find some more Arabic currency.
Okay. Yeah. See if I can locate any in there. I found the East Links Family Park 1 token again. I forgot to sift that out. I've found, looks like more Israeli money. What's that? No. I don't know if I have any more Arabic currency here.
Well, we looked at a dinar last week, didn't we? Dinar.
I think we did, but I think that was from
note.
I think it was a note. I think it was from a country that I wasn't expecting to use dinar, so I don't think that they were. I don't think it was an Arabic country. Let me just have a quick look. Dinara, yeah. So we looked at the Yugoslav dinara.
Oh, the dinara. That's different from a dinar.
Yeah.
Which might not even be I think it's a crossword clue. That's why I know it.
Dinar. Or dinara.
Let me look at it. Dinar.
Yeah.
Is the currency of the Mediterranean Sea. That can't be right.
I think
sea doesn't have a currency.
Iraq has dinar, or had dinar certainly.
It is that is the crossword clue that most often comes up.
Most often.
Yes. Becky is confirming it's Iraq.
Yeah.
Fans of the Evening Standard Quick.
Thanks, Becky.
Will probably have seen that before.
So were you suggesting that is the most frequent crossword clue?
As it pertains to currency, no, I would say shekel comes up more often. Actually, I think dinar does come up the most.
Okay. Of all clues?
Yeah, in terms of currency-based crossword clues, yeah.
Right. Okay.
In the cryptic, all bets are off, really.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but by their very nature, cryptic, aren't they? I have found a currency which well, let me pop it on there. I don't know if Josie can give us any help with that. Is that I don't know. I don't really know there. Anyway, that flips. Can you not see it on the?
Could you give us a little descriptor? Well, I'm watching over Discord, so I think it's a little bit.
Of course you are. Yeah.
Degraded.
There's a fellow with a hat on, and there's some writing in what I believe is Arabic, and then there is a that reminds Josie of a Tunisian one that they have, but not sure off the top of the head.
And does it flip vertical along the vertical axis?
It does, yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So perhaps that is maybe curtains for that theory.
But is it in Arabic?
I think so. I think that's Arabic on there.
So it's not. So again, the theory is still, because the theory is that Arabic coins will flip,
but
along the vertical, not horizontal.
But this Arabic coin, the Moroccan, does flip on the horizontal.
Horizontal. Okay, sorry. It's me who's got confused there. Sorry, that's my bad.
Jason,
it is curtains.
Just found another Arabic coin, Tunisian, and that flips horizontally. So, I mean, I don't know whether this one is. I don't know. That's something to probably pop in the pop on the back burner, and if we find any other evidence at any point, then we can pop it back on the front burner and burn it. Properly. I've just found another one which appears to be Moroccan, or certainly has the same star on it. Again, it is a horizontal flipper. It has sort of quite nice ridging around the outside, and it's sort of in the €2 coin mould. Gold in the centre and a sort of silver outer ring.
I'd like to make a suggestion.
Yep.
Based off our discussions of bird watching earlier, through via Owl. I think we should have coin slang. I think horizontal flippers should have, because I think it's taking too long for us to say flips along the horizontal or vertical axes.
Yes, that is taking quite a while, isn't it? So, what would you suggest?
Well, you've got an H flip. That's an H flip or a V flip, I suppose, would be my, or a long flip.
You could call it a hozzy.
A hozzy.
A hozzer. A hozzer or a vozzer.
I think you should put it to the chat. We could come up with a couple of suggestions.
Okay, well, let's me pop. I'll do a little text thing.
Flip off.
Poll. I mean, not that this will be a poll. What should a coin which flips on the horizontal axis be known as in slang terms? I mean, did something there. Let's just select our font. Now, I did download this sort of coin coin font, so I should probably use it. Let's do that. Say size 20.
What do you think, coin font?
Like the sort of font which is on British coins. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I am also a bit of a font freak.
Okay, I don't know.
As a graphic designer.
Okay.
I would love to know what font it is that's used on a coin.
So a problem is, like, I don't know what color to have the text. There we are. So that's
just looking at the back of a £2. Font is very lovely. Cursive, obviously.
Yeah.
It has something of a kind of classical manuscript quality to it. The the way that the sort of the ends of letters are curved up. It feels. The more you look at the font, the more you realise it's very subconsciously rooted in England's past.
Right. Okay. I mean, and that's a good. That's kind of speaking in terms of coins. That seems like a pretty good place for it to be rooted. Feels like it makes sense.
Put it there. Yeah, it's interesting what the emotional impact a font can have. As somebody who spends a lot of time, especially when you're like designing posters for, say, a comedy show, and somebody has just given you a photo shoot and said, put the title on this. A lot of your job really is the subtle differences between a large variety of fonts and the emotional impact that they have. So I find it very interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is like if this is a specific font or whether it's just a sort of Times New Roman variant that they've whacked on there. Be surprised if so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I say, the font that I downloaded was called Coinage Caps Kruger Grey Regular.
Kruger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that meaning something to you?
It's just an interesting word.
Right. Yeah. Josie
made me
reckons
think of. I was going to say, made me think of Barbara Kruger.
Who's that?
She puts them bloody bits of art, and it's like advertised in black and white with big, declarative, bold red statements on the front, like money is sex.
Let's head over to
war is nice.
On the current currency screen, I did have a rather larger version of the Kruger text. So there's the font. Again, it's quite difficult to because I picked the correct sort of font color for it, but that's the font that I've got. We've got some feedback in the chat on the question at hand. Wow. Let's get rid of him. Josie reckons that Hosd is so kind of in the same ballpark as my suggestion of a Hozzer. Jazzers reckons something like that, and then would go with Zonners, so that's the horizontal, I think. And Pissing Myself suggests a Hozzy and a Verti, which I think is quite good.
A Hozzy.
I think
Verti.
Hozd.
No, so you go on.
No, well, I was just going to say that I think Verti is the term out of those two that is doing it for me. Though I mean, I like Hozzy. I think that's quite good. But then Verti is really creeping up and going, wow, look at me. I'm a pretty good idea. Which is that's why I really know that I've hit upon a good idea.
Once you name one, you have to name the other. So the terms do need to be complementary. I think Hozd is like nice, but I think it turns it into a verb, which is a strange. To be Hozd, you can Hoz.
Yeah. So
to Hoz a coin, I suppose, would be to flip it over.
I've just Hozd that.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can use that from now on as the verb
Yeah,
to flip a coin.
and
Hos it along
I've
with
just
the.
verted this one, and oh look, that's gone
Mhm,
wrong.
it's all cacked.
Yeah, it's been cacked by a verti there. We don't like that, so we'll have to, we'll uncack it with
Hmm.
a Haza. Oh no, it's cacked again.
Hack it off. Because I think we should bear in mind that a la birdwatching slang, I do feel the more vaguely sexualized sort of innuendos you can have,
Yeah.
you know, the closer to the sun you can fly with
Mm,
this this language.
yeah.
But I like to hos it off, hos it
Okay.
on.
So what? Which? Okay. So would hozzing it on be hozzing it so that it displays the um, the sort of face side, whatever we're calling the front of the coin, and then to hoz it off would be to display the the off side, the whatever is the rear of the coin.
No, I think
Right.
when you hos it off, you're going to the monarch on the back because then you can't see what the denomination is. You can't see what the amount is.
Right.
So you're sort of turning it off because all coins have the same picture on the back. So that's you've hosed that off now. But when you hos it back on,
All coins have the same picture on the back. Are you absolutely fucking mad?
well, you know what I mean. Within a
No, I
within
don't.
a
Quite
nation's
simply. Oh, right. Okay. Within
currency,
a currency. Yeah, but I mean, we can't.
yeah,
It's such a stream as this. When we're on this topic, the
yeah, you're
topic
right.
of all
Sorry.
coins, you can't go throwing around the terms all coins so fucking willy nilly as
Oh,
that.
cool.
That's an insane declarative to be using.
Hmm. No, you're right. Sorry, but my general point is that I think face on is that's off.
Yeah.
You've offed that coin, and then you turn it on. You flip it over.
Right. So
You
I
activate it.
just need to recap again. To
Hmm.
display the face side, that is off.
That's off.
Okay. Josie suggests that showing whatever side doesn't have the value on it should be something like backing off, which I suppose is kind of
Mm,
in accordance with your proposition here.
I like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
back it off.
Al Jazzers is suggesting that if you insist on them being vaguely sexualized, pissing myself is also finding has put vaguely sexualized in inverted commas. So I think just picking up that potentially there might be more to be delved into there, or that it's a slightly off proposition. Jazz is suggesting that you should just call it a stiffy then. I don't know what he is suggesting should be a stiffy, but anyway, that has been released into the chat and can be interpreted by.
Suppose. If it had to be anything, I would say, coinage, that's a stiffy, whereas a banknote, that's a floppy.
Right, okay. What about
Paper,
this?
paper currency is,
How would
if
you.
you can bend it.
What's that
Oh,
then?
right, okay.
I mean, if
That's being edged.
I don't edged, yes, yeah, it's edging, isn't it? Okay, fair enough.
Edging the coin.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I was attempting to do a verti, but then I edged by accident.
Interesting.
We've also got now. This is quick. Well, Stiffy and Floppy is immediately headcanoned, says pissing myself, and Josie points out that the edge is already called the rim, so that sorts itself out.
Ah, smart.
I'm going to throw something into Coin Cam here that isn't a coin. Hopefully that won't break Coin Cam, but I just think it's something that maybe everyone would like to view and have a think about. Baldy is with us. Welcome along, Baldy. And Baldy has adapted their usual introductory message of Stevenage to read Stephen Edge, thus updating the traditional exclamation in sort of an appropriate way, pertinent to the subject matter at hand, which is of course the edge and or rim of the coin. However, currently in CoinCam we have this imitation eye, which my dear partner Siri has brought back from a walk to Brockley, apparently in the street or on next to some houses in Brockley. There was a large collection of imitation eyes. Now, I'm not demanding. Yeah, go on.
When you say large collection,
I don't know exactly how big it was, but she did say, and I quote, there were loads of them.
Just describe. I know you weren't there, but the
I
scene
wasn't there. Yeah.
On the floor or
on the floor, I think, and also some sort of glasses, cocktail glasses. I believe, having looked at them, that they were probably for like porn star martinis or something like that. So if I'm getting her description of the location correct, it was somewhere around here. There's the Mantle Road Cost Cutter, where me and Tristan used to live, just in that sort of place there.
I know where this is. Can we drop into a street view?
Yep. So that used to be our balcony there.
Near the, what's the pub called? The Brockley.
The Brockley Barge
Arms,
is just Brockley Barge is just over the other side of the bridge over the railway there. Where is Brockley? Asks Baldy. A very good question. Brockley is in South London. It is in the London borough of, I believe, Lewisham. And
yeah, it was where Stephen Lawrence was murdered, wasn't it?
Yes, we are also very close to the Lawrence Centre where we are now. I mean, I'm about half a 25-minute walk away from our old gaff. But yeah, this is the part of the world. There's the Cost Cutter, which used to be a spa, used to be one of the fanciest spas I'd been in. But anyway, somewhere around here, these eyes were found. What's the exchange rate of glass eyes to sterling? Well, I don't know if these are necessarily count as glass eyes. They feel more like they're probably
you wouldn't put that in your socket.
Plastic.
Absolutely not.
No. Particularly given looking at the rear of it. And I think a glass eye is supposed to be more of a
full coverage. Because you wouldn't get one if you were blind, would you? You'd have one if you were missing an eyeball.
Yes.
Although, I mean, if you were blind, you could get. I don't know.
John Pacey Lowry is the first result that comes up on Google when you search for a glass eye. So I'm assuming that this is the kind of glass eye specialist.
Acrylic.
John Pacey Lowry Limited and Valter's Prosthetic Eye Lab. A glass eye. I don't know. Ooh.
There he is, the man himself.
Due to the February COVID-19 lockdown in England, we've been forced to close our clinic doors once more. I would like to enter the site, please. I don't know whether that is John Pacey Lowry.
Yeah, it's got to be. Now, why has he got a microscope? First question.
I don't know. I hope that it will be possible. I'd just like to bring one thing to your attention. Mr. Valdis Valters is available in all JPL locations. Is Mr. Valdis Valters this guy? Is that John Pacey Lowry? Or what's going on there? Or is Mr. Valdis Valters a very strange kind of brand name?
Seems like he
Testimonials.
might be a bit of a celebrity in the prosthetic eye world.
Yeah, Valter's Prosthetic Eyes Laboratory. But if he's available, Mr. Valdis Valters is available in all JPL locations. How does that work? I am completely happy with my glass eye, and people comment on the good colour match. Thank you for your kindness. That's very nice. My eye
If it was
is...
that good a colour match, people wouldn't say anything.
Well, no, what if...
To me, the sign of a good prosthetic eye is that people don't even know you've got one.
This doesn't specify the circumstances under which the comment has been made. So it could be that an eye wearer, glass eye wearer, has said to their friends, perhaps invited a comment, and they've said, well, that's a good colour match. They've been sort of forced into commenting on, whereas actually probably in polite conversation they wouldn't normally have ventured any comment.
Absolutely. If I had a friend who had a prosthetic eye, I would never mention it. Unless invited to do so.
Yeah, I think you've certainly got to have a level of familiarity before you go firing off comments willy nilly about.
Give it a little flick. Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's solid. Oh, what's the craftsmanship? Did Valdis Valders do that for you?
Yeah, Valdis Valters, his craftsmanship's all over it. There's a big V in the pupil. Josie says Valdis Valters, very Latvian name, and yep, can't argue with that. Paul Duncan McGarity, says Baldy, tells a story of being on site which was waterlogged, and he dislodged a plethora of Victorian doll eyes, which all floated to the surface of the water in a disturbing fashion. You wouldn't get that with a Valdis Valters eye, I assume, or proper solid glass that wouldn't float. If you would like to be seen by Valdis at any of our clinics, Nottingham, London or Belfast, please fill out the contact form below with your inquiry. You can go to Valdis Valters' website.
What's the price of an eye? That's what we want to know. So
that is what we want to know.
Convert it to sterling. They're probably going to be quite slippery with it, aren't they? They'll say
they probably are. They'll want a consultation
For me,
first.
I would say all eyes are the same size. So there's, what is what's the price markup?
Well, maybe it depends on. There's John Pacey Lowry. Maybe it depends upon how kind of distinct and what sort of level of craftsmanship you want on the iris. You could just go all
the way up to a sort of Mad-Eye Moody at the top end.
Yeah, you could have some real top class shit, or you could just have a sort of black blob in the centre. And maybe even lower. Maybe they have some sort of like ones that have gone wrong in the construction process, so that it's not quite like a proper circle, and it's just kind of like a blob.
Maybe this is what you've got here. Dumping a failed batch.
Yeah, I mean the bloody backs come off.
Valdis Valty fly tipping at night.
Yeah,
dumping a bag of eyes out his window.
Valdis is perhaps we're coming to something of he's got some personal stress at the moment, and has something of a substance abuse problem, resulting in an absolutely terrible batch of eyes. That is Valdis Valters. He is the leading specialist of Valters Prosthetic Laboratory with almost 30 years' experience in making ocular prostheses. Valdis acquired his education in Moscow before practiced in Germany, and still enriches his theoretical and practical knowledge by solving increasingly more complicated cases of ocular prosthetics and plastic surgery. VPL branches can be found, of course, Josie, in Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Ukraine and Georgia.
Interesting. Why do you think it's getting increasingly complicated?
I don't know. Maybe
it's scary that.
Maybe as people adapt to sort of more screen time and things like that, the shape of eye holes in skulls are changing in some unforeseen way, and that is a problem that
Going square.
Valdis Velters. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what your mum would always
Your mum
say,
was
isn't
right.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, do they blow the glass eye? Says Baldy, and then adds a quick allegedly there, as if fearing slandering any one of these men, who are, of course, John Pacey Lowry, Sean Soane, Valdis Velters, and David Freem. David Freem is a young, talented ocularist from Hungary who was trained under John Pacey Lowry and Sean Soane. Full of passion and skill, he has a great understanding and knowledge of ocular prosthetics and a real care for the patients. Notes that he hasn't trained under Valdis Velters, so maybe that there is some, these two have a bit of a rivalry, and they're kind of like, he's the hot young hotshot ocularist coming up through the ranks, and Valdis Velters, the aged master, is a bit cheesed off.
He's like sort of Freud, and then you've got this second generation coming through.
Yeah. Quality. Every prosthesis we make, even post-op temporary devices, are individually designed, handmade, hand-painted. They're painted, okay, and manufactured in-house by our expert team. Only by raw materials of the best standard that are compliant with CE marking. We are now one of a very small group of specialists in Europe who make both plastic and glass prostheses, due to our partnership with the talented Valdis Velters. So Valdis Velters is getting a great deal of repping here on the John Pacey Lowry website.
I can also, sorry, I'm getting a figure of $2,500 to $8,000 US for a glass eye as a sort of ballpark for the conversion rate on this.
We want to bring that in sterling, do we? Yeah, Josie points out that they feel that Valdis Velters probably wrote the page, so maybe he's not just a talented ocularist, but he's also the only guy amongst them who has any sort of experience with the CMS that the website's built in.
A talented copywriter as well.
I will update the copy on the website. Sorry, that wasn't a Latvian accent. I don't know what I was trying to do there, but
a John Pacey Lowry eye will set you back £1,750.
Okay,
for the manufacture. And that's more in London. With London waiting, that goes up to 2,350. So
sorry,
but I don't know why eyes are more expensive in London, but there you
go. What was that? Oh, you already had it in pound sterling, didn't you?
Yeah. So 1,750, unless you're accounting for London waiting, in which case it's more.
Okay, that seems a little bit untoward.
600 quid more.
Yeah.
It's strange, isn't it?
What a bunch of scam artists! It really is a shame.
Very expensive.
It is a shame to see someone of Valdis Velters' reputation and talent putting his name to such scalping practices. Josie loves Latvian accents when speaking English. They sound like they're speaking through a phaser. Not the official opinions of the stream, but merely the opinion of Josie Russell there. I've never heard a Latvian person speaking. Actually, have I? Yes, I have. My friend Anna from university is Latvian. So I take that back. I didn't think she sounded like she was speaking through a phase, but I haven't heard her for some time. Yeah.
The sort of phase shift on there.
Was that's what it's modelled off?
What, the Latvian accent modelled off a small stone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I was asking if that's what you think a phaser is.
Absolutely.
Phaser effect on. Baldy is trying to think of whether they've ever heard Marion Pahar's talk. Well, I mean, this is something else that we need to check in on. Who is Marion Pahar's? A football manager. He played at Southampton. He had 2 spells at Skonto in the Latvian Higher League. Bring up in a tab. That is a tip-top crest there. Do you like that?
Skonto.
Skonto.
Yeah, I do. It's very off. So you get 2 on one side, 1 on the other.
Yeah. I think that's to imply
Confusing.
the sort of motion of the ball somewhere, perhaps towards towards the viewer.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Founded 15th December 1991. Dissolved December 2016.
Wow, it's pretty much the same age as me.
Yeah, wow. That's a shit. Well, I mean, you've outlived Skonto.
Skonto. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, absolutely tip-top stuff from Baldy. Baldy says, it's all Skonto hell. So, we will, let's give you a wow for that.
Wow.
Wow. Wonderful stuff. Latvia has a mascot for Eurovision called Riga Beaver. He mostly exists to keep international fans interested in the country's national selection show. Let's have a look at Riga Beaver.
The country's natural selection show?
National.
Does that mean like national selection? Oh, for Eurovision.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this guy.
I like him.
He's a friend of the people.
There he is. Has worn a wig in order to masquerade as somebody else to perhaps get into the show. Looking cheeky. This is
the best thing a beaver can do, really.
Yeah. Baldy is an eager beaver for Riga Beaver. The Riga Beaver, Rigas Bebers, drawing, dance out. No, that's So this is a picture apparently of the Riga Beaver drawing, dancing, exercising, talking, playing charades, and sharing beaver love at a supernova heat in Riga, Latvia.
It's a video, not a picture.
Oh well. I mean, I don't know how well. Oh God, you've gone very robotic over there. I don't know how well playing YouTube videos on the stream works, so I'm probably not going to try. So I apologise for that. Just any more pictures of Riga Beaver? I don't like that one bit.
That's a knockoff, isn't it? It's a knockoff that somehow seems more realistic than the actual Riga Beaver.
Yeah, which I think is this is an adult beaver mascot costume.
It's a mugshot if ever I've seen one.
That is pretty horrific there. I mean, I'm assuming that we're getting into this sort of the kind of furry domain.
We're on the cusp of furrydom.
And far be it from me to kink shame, but I think it's just there's a distinction between the world of Riga Beaver and that of the furry community, and of course there is nothing wrong with either.
Yeah.
But this is of course a discussion of Riga Beaver on a stream about coins.
Yeah, it is interesting, the line, but I guess mascots and furries, if there is any crossover there, if you ever do get people that maybe like discover themselves through starting off as like playing Gunny or whatever his name is for Arsenal,
the Gunnosaurus.
The Gunnosaurus, yeah. In fact, they like
we had
something off for them. I don't know.
A little discussion at on Thursday Night Football on Thursday of there's a lot of American football mascots that are just blokes, and they are pretty horrific across the board, to be honest. So I've already shown. I'll show it again. The Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I remember this from last week. Do you mean, when you say they're just blokes, you mean? Oh, I see. Yeah, they're just like horrible.
Mocked up. So there's the Patriots mascot is again why you are a supporter of this team, and this thing comes running out. I personally would question my allegiances, because I think that fucker looks absolutely hideous. Pissing Myself suggests Gainer the Gopher, which was another one that came up last week that I didn't actually look at. So let's have a look at that. That's much better, particularly particularly the one on the left there. I much prefer the one on the left. Indeed, it looks like there has been some Rough Riders fans aren't impressed with Gainer's new look. Nope, absolutely not. Left certainly better for my money anyway.
He's been Disneyfied.
He has been, and in doing so lost a good amount of his soul, I think. We've got some chat.
I don't know anything about. Oh yes, no, you go.
Sammy the Tammy says Baldy is better than Gunnosaurus. So we'll have a look at the Sammy the Tammy. Sammy the Tammy
He's
looks
on the cusp of a human.
Yeah, looks quite.
Sounds like a human-animal hybrid, isn't it?
Looks quite fighty to me. I don't know whether that's just the flat cap, but looks.
It's the ears. He's got cheeky
ears.
Cauliflower ears.
Yeah. There he is in a cardboard tank.
Yeah, it's like a knobhead.
Oh, come on, Sam, please.
It does. Nah.
Right.
Not having it.
Okay. What else do we have? Josie was just explaining their love of Eurovision to Baldy, watching the national selection show in order to see who ends up being the contestant for every single nation. The original Gainer is a lot better. Baldy has really soured on you after that comment about Sammy the Tammy and has requested that you be banned from the stream.
Well, I mean, all I can say is that I'm here to talk about coins and not about Scottish football mascots. It's not my area of expertise. I mean, I'm happy to have opinions on Sammy the Tammy. I mean, I'm sorry for calling him a knobhead or whatever it was. That was just my instinct.
That was what you went for. Straight up.
Based on how he's presenting. Yeah. What do I know?
Well, okay. Well, let's try and get back on track here. Here's another coin. There
we go.
20 Centavos from 2006, and I believe it. Oh no, it is a Hozzy.
That's a Hozzy, is it?
It's just. Yes.
Turn it on?
It's that's on. That's off. Bolivia.
I can't. It's a bit pixelated on my end. Could you give me a description of the? I don't know what the word is for it. The head.
It's so that's the head. It's a sort of crest. I believe it's the same. We've got an H in the chat for Hozzy. A couple of. Or possibly for the Dundee Dewoks haircut. Excellent haircut. And then a couple of H's have appeared after that. So I believe that those are H's for Hozzy, but they could also be for haircut. So I don't want to... I've been burned before by making big statements, which later turned out to be incorrect. I was correct. H for Hozzy from Pissing Myself. Bolivia, let's have a look at the flag. I think the sort of central crest is the same as from it's the same as from the Bolivian flag.
What I'm seeing here looks like a mouse and a cat with three tails hugging.
Yep.
And is that right?
I can see where you're getting that from. It's actually so there's a sort of central oval kind of window in the center of the crest which displays a mountain, a palm tree, some sort of grain or some wheat maybe, and a llama or an alpaca. Then it says Bolivia at the top and has a number of stars around the bottom. From that, some items. Some items are behind that. Sorry, let me just switch over to the. Wow.
Wow.
Bolivia, there's a sort of.
Trump.
I think that's some sort of like condor or eagle on the top, and then these guys. I don't know exactly what they are, but they go behind the Bolivia thing, and then lots of flags.
Let me pull it up on my end, see if we can get so I can see what you're seeing.
Yep.
Yes.
Baldy asks whether this currency was replaced by the Musk briefly during the coup. I don't know. I hesitate to speculate. Of course, that is all water under the bridge, as the MAS are back in charge in Bolivia, and so the sort of Musk lithium oriented coup need not trouble us any longer. So that's the offside of the coin. Heading over to the one, hoseying it onto the on. We have 20 centavos. Union S La Fuerza.
Looking at the flag, is that not a? Is that a vulture? You know the ones that have the ruff?
Well, yes, I wanted to say it was a vulture, but then I thought, would you put a vulture on your money, given that they have such a kind of bad rep? I mean, maybe you would, and maybe that's part of the sort of rationale behind it, kind of trying to get people to think about the reputation of the vulture and kind of engage critically with their perception of vultures by saying, look, we are willing to have one on our money.
Scare them off.
Josie says it's quite a dry country, so a vulture makes sense.
Well, my granddad used to go on about a lot his idea that we should put pictures of lions on our money instead of the Queen. He came up with this after the 2007 financial crisis.
Yeah.
Because he said if people, when they looked at a money and they, turned it off, and they saw a picture of a lion, and the lion is like coming at you, was his idea, they'd be much more inclined to treat money with respect and sort of a little bit more fear from the bankers. And he used to go on about that all the time.
Right. And also, I suppose, if you think that you've got a little lion in your pocket, maybe you'd be more inclined to spend it, thus sort of kind of, jump-starting the economy.
That was genuinely another part of the facet of the theory, jumpstart. So it was supposed to jumpstart the economy again by making people sort of scared to hold on to their money, and then also, to sort of instill in bankers a little bit more fear. Because he said, as a communist, he said that no one respected the Queen,
right?
And at least amongst them, the capitalists, the runaway capitalists.
Yeah. Did he want them to have more respect for the Queen? Was he viewing this as a...
No, he wanted them to have more fear of the lion.
Right, okay. So respect for the Queen, he had no views on the amount of respect afforded to the monarch by... That didn't come into it, other than viewing the lack of respect as being, that's just a standard...
across the board.
Yeah, that's something that we can't do anything about. We don't even wish to do anything about that. That's just a constant.
He was saying, first up, no one is afraid of this woman anymore. So let's get rid of her, replace her with a scary, like almost 3D image of a lion in action coming at you.
Yeah.
See what that does for the value of the pound.
Small statues of lions.
Well, I think he was suggesting actually that you should have more statues of lions, but also he said as a time promotional campaign they could have like live lions in the banks.
Right, that would be good, I think.
So people would like be more interested. Oh, let's go down the bank.
Yeah.
Check out the lion show.
Tamers
and all whips.
Right, okay, so it's supposed to be an encouragement to come to the bank as opposed to think twice about helping those bankers out.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
Yeah, well, because
They have lions in the.
yeah, well, I mean, the financial institutions are separate from the banks themselves. You know, the day to
Yeah,
day
yeah. No, you're right.
NatWest, your local NatWest branch. So I think it was a level-headed theory in that sense. He was drawing that distinction.
Yeah.
Punish the bank. Let's get people back into the banks. You know, through some sort of circus,
Hmm.
sort of propaganda. I don't know. I don't really know.
No, but well, it's a good theory and idea, and I'm very pleased that you've brought it to our attention. So that's 20 centavos from Bolivia. I mean, I guess we'll just have a little look at the exchange rate. If I can bring up the tab of that. No, let's just.
Want to have a guess?
Would you like to have a guess, or are you um,
A quick punt on the conversion rate. Yes,
asking me to
20
have a guess?
centavos. I reckon. Hmm. 2 pence.
Okay, let me. Sorry, just bringing up the pound sterling. So it's 0.20. Okay, it is. Yeah, it's approximately 2 pence, I think.
Ding.
Well done.
Nice. Very happy with that.
0.021. It's trending down.
Okay.
Uh, the 5-day figure is, yeah, pretty flatlining for across the day. No trading there, and in 5-year terms, it has stayed pretty steady. We didn't have the right window open there. Doesn't matter. Let's have a look at another coin. Do you have any coins? Have you got any coins that you'd like to?
Yeah, of course, I've got. You know,
review?
as ever, I have my box of coins here,
Yep.
in which I keep all of my collected special
Wow.
50p's and special £2 coins.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy just to open it up, and I suppose I can look whether or not you want a 50p or a £2.
Well, I don't think we had a £2
Um,
last week, so if you want to bring us a £2, that'd be pretty cool as far as I'm
okay.
concerned.
Yeah. All right, well, we can have a look at this one. So this is a new one for me. I haven't seen this in a little while. This is a £2 coin. And just to describe what you're looking at, it's a sort of web, a sort of
Yeah.
spider's web or like a wormhole type design,
Uh-huh.
leading down into an offset center. And then in the middle it says 2001. So whatever it's commemorating would have happened in 2001
Yep.
and would have been something worth celebrating, worth commemorating in a coin.
Yep. I'm
Um,
going to hazard a guess as to what it
not.
isn't,
Hmm.
and that is the terrible attacks on the World Trade Center in New York.
It's a strange thing for us to commemorate in a currency.
Well, it would be. That's why I'm saying
can say,
that's what I don't think it is.
to give you a little bit more information, there's a clock design to the 2001, so it's something to do maybe with time, but I'll tell you the two zeros, interestingly, are sort of joined in a manner reminiscent of a percentage sign or of like a heartbeat. Boop, boop, you know.
Okay.
And it's not a web, it's concentric rings
So
with what looks like 4 spears.
Something
Piercing
relating
them.
to either cardiovascular medicine or what was the other thing you said? Or percentages happened in 2001, which was deemed worthy of commemoration on a £2 coin.
See what I mean with the zeros, and they're joined
I
by
do.
sort of an uptick.
Josie is pretty enamoured with this coin, noting that it is very pretty.
If anyone's got any leads on what it could possibly be, oh, hello. Oh my gosh. Okay, wow. So, big revelation for me. If you rim the coin,
Yep.
you will see that round the rim, it instead of the usual nonsense lorem ipsum Latin they whack on there. It is a description of what the coin is commemorating.
Okay.
And I'm happy to tell people, or I'm happy to, if anyone has any suggestions, or, happy to.
Well, I think we'll give the chat a couple of moments to put any suggestions in. Give them appropriate amount of time for that. What I would like to ask you is it a Hossie or a Verti?
Okay, let's orientate it. So, I guess this is the on side here. Although, yeah, so okay, and then we flip it, and it's a Hossie. So that just got hozzed.
Okay,
so you can hozz it off.
You've hozzed it off. And
and it is the queen. The queen is up right there.
Yep. Okay. Lovely. So that's a hozzer. We can just get some H's going in the chat for a hoz.
It's a hoz. Yeah, I got to say, what this coin is commemorating is a very abstract concept. So I think they've done a very good job of. Holy moly! Okay.
Baldy has a very quick suggestion, and I've got my doubts, but if you can just confirm or deny, is it commemorating eating the rich, or does it say eat the rich on the rim?
It does not say that, but I can say something that is a bit of a revelation and a bit of a shocker to my theory last week, that in fact it is the onside of the coin that is the upside, as per the chocolate digestives argument.
Right.
That the writing on the rim's writing is written from the perspective of this being the queen being up.
Right. Okay. And I think that was my. I think that was my contention. I can't entirely remember, but I believe that I was saying that you would face the queen. As the front of the queen.
I think that was exactly what we decided. You would have to face the queen because it's the most polite thing to do, and just the rim is supporting the theory. So
right, okay.
It's been rimmed.
What does it say? Would you care to share the words with us?
I will now share you the words, and it is commemorating somebody called Marconi from 1901. So it is a centenary coin released in 2001.
It's not radio, is it?
It is. Right. Wireless bridges the Atlantic. So It is the commemoration of wireless radio bridging the Atlantic, and they've represented it. So obviously we can now see the 2 zeros. That must be a wave form, some sort of saw wave form maybe. Yeah. And then obviously this is Britain.
Yep.
And we are the epicenter of the concentric rings of wireless radio expanding out, and we can assume that this is the direction across the Atlantic of USA, America.
Yeah. If you were to enter a clearing at, let's say, Colchester Zoo, and you saw a chimp using a radio that it had built itself, and you confirmed that it had built it itself by asking the keepers, have you given this ape a working radio or any parts of a radio, and they said no, absolutely not, we wouldn't do that, and you saw it making a transmission across the Atlantic, would you be impressed?
How do we know it's transmitting across the Atlantic?
You've got a friend over the other side who's a radio enthusiast who says, I received a very strange transmission, and the weirdest thing was that I could hear you in the background talking to someone who sounded by their manner as if they were a zookeeper.
Okay. To me, that sounds within the ballpark of the intelligence of, say, like a gorilla like Coco could probably figure that out for herself, couldn't she? How to assemble a radio. It can't be that hard.
Yeah. Pissing myself says.
I feel like it's.
just to sorry, put a pin in that very quickly. Pissing Myself has to head off now, and wishes us a good rest of the stream. So thank you very much, Pissing Myself, Funny Bear. Goodbye to you. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you have a very pleasant rest of your Sunday. So, returning to the issue at hand, carry on.
Well, I'm just saying. First off, I just don't know if that's really such a complicated thing. I mean, I think it's because you set the bar earlier at a car.
Right.
For me now, a radio, transatlantic radio transmission.
Yeah, any sort of
because, well, fundamentally, the first problem is if you build a radio of any kind, surely, radio waves they do just keep traveling.
Yeah.
So, other than what is shortwave? What is shortwave radio? And I don't know. See, on the one hand, I have a conception of radio being that you send anything out as a radio frequency, that's going to travel into space forever. Because obviously people say, one day our radio waves are going to be all that's left of us. They'll be sort of, Jeremy Vine or whatever, or traveling through the cosmos.
What if this chimpanzee has seen one of the recent Planet of the Apes films? They've made they've
built its own television, did it?
They've made a slight error in believing that the Planet of the Apes is a different planet. And they are sending this radio transmission to try and sort of get some assistance in, draft in some apes to sort of redress the balance.
I'm not worried because the amount of time it would take for a radio transmission to reach the nearest, most hospitable planet, by the time it takes for the radio wave to reach there, to be potentially intercepted by some other intelligent apes on that planet who've also somehow managed to invent a radio.
Yeah.
For them to then, build up the formation of what an Earth ape language is, decode the message, and then meet and decide, okay, let's go. And then you've got to then have apes that can develop spacefaring technology that can travel faster than the speed of light, potentially.
Yeah.
They've got to get on that ship, and a couple generations have got to live aboard the ship whilst it travels to Earth, which means most likely the original message will have been lost through intergenerational inbreeding and so on. So by the time those apes reach Earth, they're going to have no idea why they set off in the first place. It's potentially going to be thousands of years in the future. So I'm not impressed. I don't care.
Wow. That's that's a very comprehensive dismissal.
Yeah, I thought about it before.
Clearly.
Because I'll tell you why. Because I think it was 2012, they discovered, I think, the nearest Kepler planet, which is the nearest Earth-like planet, hospitable planet, and Bebo immediately got all its users together, and they sent a whole bunch of messages to that planet. And so that 2012 was the first time I thought, well, how long is it going to take for an alien invasion to happen, potentially, if they get a bunch of...
One's got to assume that would be an absolute deluge of incomprehensible nonsense at the best of times.
Which, do you know what message that is sending out into space? We're weak.
Yeah. Come on in, lads. Plenty of our creations and various types of wealth of resources for everyone. Carve them up, enslave us. We I think
take all 37 trillion, of our coins would be
of these coins, of which there is a very complicated system of sort of imagined value backing them up, but so do you think, with that in mind, do you think that there should be some sort of agency or bureau geared towards censorship of transmissions which could conceivably make it out to other alien intelligences in the universe?
There have been. I mean, obviously, there's SETI, and
No,
there have
but
been the
censoring the communications that we are putting out in order to try and launder the perceptions of humanity and of Earth on a sort of intergalactic scale. Like
People
a kind
have
of PR
debated it
campaign.
since the 1970s. People have there are organisations that do debate this. You've got philosophers and astrophysicists and all kinds of thinkers and influencers who do debate this question in government sort of think tanks and so on. I think the general consensus is that the cat is unfortunately out the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to take a position, I would ascribe to the sort of I guess what might be called the dark forest theory of the universe, which is to say that if there is something out there, the chances are that it is an aggressive species, because to become dominant of your own planet, you have to have naturally coded into you a sort of a pathological violence, like with humans.
Yeah.
And so you look at this. Well, listen, I mean, the thing is, I can't go into all of it because it's a very broad kind of conversation. But
Yes.
the basic theory of thought of it is that there are lots of stars in the galaxy, so potentially chances are there is life out there, almost definitely.
Okay.
But we know that we have never been contacted, or we have never seen proof of it. So the idea is, well, then where is everyone? And the two sort of schools of thought are essentially either nobody gets past a certain stage in their evolution.
And what's that called again?
Ends
what's that called again? Because I've heard the
there's
term.
Fermi's paradox.
That was it. Yeah.
It's based off the Drake equation. And so one school of thought is that no civilization is capable of getting past a certain stage of evolution without killing itself. So like the nuclear stage, or the time we live in now, potentially. Or one civilization has, and it now will destroy any weaker civilizations. And so basically, at this sort of like kindergarten stage of evolution, it is very important that we stay quiet, because anything that is out there will probably come and kill us.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's too late because of Bebo.
Yeah. Bebo has really shot the screwed the pooch on that one.
Screwed the pooch.
But they've verted a hozzer.
Yeah, they've rimmed it good.
Yeah, Bebo has rimmed that one. Just had to change the scene on display there, because during that very depressing diatribe from you there, Josie has found their Hong Kong dollar coin and speculated that it might be the same year as mine. And so I displayed my coin, the one that has a small amount of ink on it, and they are indeed both from 1998. As we, if you remember last week, we did discuss Chris Patton.
We did discuss Chris Patton.
Hong
Kong. Not of Patton brother fame, which is the Chuckle Brothers' older brother.
Yeah, not of, and indeed spelt differently. It's an E-N as opposed to an O-N. I think the Patton brothers were O-Ns, weren't they?
They were.
Not sure.
Yeah. Then they were also. He didn't he marry like a girl 50 years younger than him?
Well, yeah. I was. Did I mention? No, I might not have done. I had. I was listening to my Spotify Discover Weekly during the week, and it
good
had
time to listen to it.
Yeah, perfect. And it had a Bill Wyman song on it, and I thought, what have I heard about Bill Wyman? And let me tell you, nothing good. Not something that needs
what about the song?
Delving into on the stream.
Did that change your mind?
The song was a Yeah, I think actually no, I'm not saying my mind was changed by the song. I'm saying my sort of perception of the lyrical content of the song was slightly coloured um, by knowledge of his 1989 marriage. There's no need to go into it here, but the details available about that on Wikipedia were not great. Anyway, yes, we've got one Hong Kong dollar from 1998 here.
One Hong Kong dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what? And same? Was it same year? Same mintage?
Yes, they were both 1998. Just trying to see if we've got any. So you showed us a £2 coin from the centenary of the first transatlantic radio broadcast.
Wow!
Do you have another coin that you'd like to show to us?
Yeah, what do you want? I got a 50p or £2.
What do you want? Dealer's choice.
Yeah, okay. Let's see what we've got here. Well, you know what? Why not just go with a new one? We don't get many. I don't do many modern coins on the chat, but I know that a lot of people are, maybe new to the hobby of coin collecting. Mm-hmm. So this is one from I think last year, and it is the Paddington, one of the Paddington coins.
Paddington Bear, 50p.
Fans. So fans of the movie and of also let me get that in shot, and of numismatics will know.
Yeah.
That is the identifiable, and he's flag waving. He's a flag waving patriotic bear, and he's doing so outside.
Well, I mean, it's not actually. He's flag waving for his adoptive country, so it seems to be probably a kind of perhaps an overcompensation.
Which does often happen, I think, if you know.
Well, certainly, yeah.
You become a lot more aware of your identity within a nation.
Yeah. So there are some other options.
And I guess he must be on outside Paddington. I suppose he must be.
Yeah.
Outside of London.
No, that looks like Buckingham Palace to me.
Fairfax. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So
brilliant. Uncirculated. In 2018, this suggests that this Paddington Bear at the Palace, brilliant BU Royal Mint coin. Fair fucks.
What's the source on that?
I've absolutely no idea.
You've got to be careful with that stuff. I will just say, actually, for people in the chat who are thinking about getting into coin hunting, do be careful. You will read a chunting. You will read a lot of articles in the Daily Mail that will claim that certain coins are worth £50,000. Like, for instance, I have a Jemima puddle duck in here somewhere that allegedly was worth, sold on eBay for 50,000. And often what will actually happen is that the Daily Mail, when they are in need of a story, will go on eBay and put up a coin for sale and then buy it back themselves and say, oh, this coin sold for whatever. Whereas the actual price of a Jemima puddle duck is somewhere in the region of maybe 60 pence.
Speaking of that, you're having a visit from... Is that Goblin?
We have a cat on. Yes, it's the Goblin.
Hello, Goblin. Not that the Goblin can hear me or respond.
He's only got one ear.
Well, and you've got headphones in. Was
oh yes,
my immediate point. I mean, there were a number of barriers that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this Tom Kitten 50p piece?
Yes, I have it.
You've got it.
If I can. Pretty sure I do. Should we have a look through?
Yeah. What are your?
We went through all the Beatrix spotters last week.
Yeah, but I mean, my question is, what are your views on Tom Kitten's eyes there?
Let me see if I can pull him up IRL so that I can get my own beams.
Okay, I'll just run over a couple of comments whilst we're here. Josie Russell simply says cat, which cannot be denied. And Al Jazzers says, man, I always wanted the Jeremy Fisher.
Oh yes.
Which I believe we did. Yep.
Jeremy Fisher.
I mean, my feelings about this Tom Kitten. Yeah, Jeremy Fisher's looking pretty good. I've got to say I like Jeremy Fisher simply because I'm a big fan of frogs, and he looks like a pretty good guy, really, doesn't he? What are you?
Yeah, I've now got peeps on Tom Kitten. I mean, first impression is it's no Vatislav Vatin. It's whatever his name was.
Valtis Valtmer or something like that. Valter, I believe. I think that, and far be it from me to making any judgments about Tom Kitten's lifestyle, but he looks like a bit of a weekend warrior there, doesn't he? Well, he looks like he's eckied up to the nines.
Yeah, what made me laugh, and it's very hard. I can't show you, and it's hard to describe. But so I got the coin out to have a look at the eyes myself, and it was quite flat on at first, so I wasn't really seeing it. But then, as the light shifted and the rest of his sort of cameo faded into shadow, the eyes remained embossed and caught in light. Two bright, unblinking orbs that really, for a moment, seemed to be actually looking right at me.
Yeah.
Before collapsing into even darker sockets.
Yeah.
So
he's properly whacked out there.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
I mean, I like how it looks, but it does ask some questions, and one is.
It doesn't remind me of many cats that I've seen.
No. Jazzers gets in touch Jeremy Fisher. He's the coolest, I think. So that's that. Have you seen Paddington Bear outside St Paul's?
Yeah, some of these are quite hard. I mean, I will say, so this is on the cusp of the coin collection stopping, because obviously this is 2018, 2019. So
yeah,
we've got to say, this is getting towards the start of COVID, at which point my access to currency just kind of falls off a cliff edge.
Yeah.
I was hoping, working at the chip van at festivals and doing buckets at the Fringe, I would be seeing a lot more Paddingtons. I was hoping to get my eyes on the Gruffalo coin as well. That was one I had big hopes for in 2020.
I didn't know that was in the offing, or had indeed offed.
Yeah. Would of course have loved to have got my hands on the very rare unreleased Brexit commemoration coin that had to be smelted. And the the very controversial H.G. Wells coin.
Why is it controversial?
Well, a bit of coin goss in the coin world. It broke into the MSN because of the awful graphic design choices made.
Yeah.
If you can sort of pull that up.
That's you've got a War of the Worlds, Invisible Man kind of thing going on there.
Yeah. So first thing that you can point out, the fighting machines, the War of the Worlds tripods.
That's a
four
quad
legs.
Pod. That's a quad pod, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a quad pod. And the Invisible Man is wearing a top hat, which is not.
That's not canon.
Not canon. I think there's a couple of other. Basically, there's quite a few mistakes on here, and it was very controversial. Sparked quite a big debate. Royal Mint came under a lot of fire for it, and I got to say, in the media, absolutely threw their graphic designer under the bus because they named him in the press, which I thought was pretty unprecedented.
That's some fucking Dr. David Kelly kind of shit there, isn't it? That's You don't do
Yeah,
that. Come
as
on.
you know, because I think part of the part of the beauty of coins is that the artist always goes unacknowledged and uncredited in their
Mm.
work. Like a mysterious noble gentleman of the night.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that it's not as though this is fucking currency, mate. This is a £2 coin. It's not like they just contracted out some freelancer. He sent in a design and they just whacked it on. This went
Yeah.
through several layers
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
okayed and greenlit. And I think to name the guy who designed it as if to say, well, it was he should have researched it better. When you imagine the amount of fact checking that has to go into currency is, I
Yeah.
think, gobsmacking for the Royal
Nobody's
Mint and a
nobody's picked that up.
stain on their noble character.
Wow. So that's a big call out
Mm.
from Sam Nicoresti to the Royal Mint there. Would you like to add any further message to that? If I were to
I think I've
send
said
them,
all.
I'll up this on YouTube. I'll send the Royal Mint a link along with a timestamp because they can't be expected to wade through all of this. Some of this might be far too controversial and far too sort of thought-provoking, an affront to the Royal Mint's collective sensibilities. But I'll give them the timestamp of that particular bit of excoriating commentary from Sam Nicoresti there. What would your final message to the Royal Mint be? Hello, Siri.
Probably, besides from that, thanks for the coins. Keep them coming.
Oh, well, they're really rowing back there.
Well, no, not going back from my original point. I stand by what I said. You can't just name your graphic designer.
Yeah.
And imply that if people have a problem, they should take it up with him.
Right.
Because I doubt that he got paid well enough.
Okay, so you think that this is a rare misstep?
I think the Royal Mint have made many a misstep in their time, I'm sure, but I think that it was mudslinging and it was unnecessary, and I think it brought the world of coin collecting into disrepute.
Okay, that's fair enough. So not willing to properly go to war with the Royal Mint, but also not holding back.
I think it would be a bad enemy. I wouldn't want to go to war with the Royal Mint.
No, that's fair enough. I'm just sorry, I'm slightly distracted. Josie has just found some Mexican pesos, which are Aussies, proving their theory false. So I was just trying to see if I could find any pesos, Mexican pesos, in coin form, because I certainly do. I have one. I've seen it kicking around, but I can't find it at the moment. What I do have to hand is I don't know if you can. If I bring up Coin Cam, although obviously I should rename it in this instance to Note Cam, is a Banco de Mexico 20 peso note. A little peek behind the magic there, zoomed out too far, thus revealing well, not a great deal too much. Mexican dollar coins as well. Josie points out. So there's a fella on the back of this. Well, the front. Is it the front? Is it? It's the offside, but the front.
Oh, do you think so? When it comes to notes, I don't know.
I don't know, and obviously
I don't know how you'd orientate.
There's no question about hossying and vertying a note. It's obviously it's a verty, isn't it? Because hossying a note is.
You don't think a note ever gets hossyed?
No, I want to say that I don't think it does. I want to say that, and indeed I'm going to.
Interesting.
Well, let's have a look.
I think that makes sense. People have
we've got a dollar here. Just hossying that. No, thank you. 50 rupees. No, thank you.
No,
another dollar there, and then we have 100 Cambodian money. And again, the Aussie is not a valid manoeuvre with
Interesting. I would say, I think Aussie and a coin, the reason why it feels weird is because you would spin a coin.
Yeah.
That's what most people would be familiar with a coin is spinning it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did that, then the monarch or whomsoever you chose to have on the back of your coin would be the wrong way round.
Yeah.
So it would kind of imply that a Aussie would come from a culture or a country that are more used to a coin toss, where the coin is flipping up in air and thus rotating along its Aussie axis.
Yeah.
Rather than countries in which you might
can just say
spin
rotating.
a coin.
I think we can just say rotating on its Hos.
Rotating on its Hos, rather than spinning on its vert.
Yeah.
Or viz. I don't know how you want to call that, but
I think vert is fine. So on the subject of coin tosses, did you have an update for us from Canada, from across the pond?
Yes, I did. Thank you for reminding me.
As the hypothetical ape did, you too have made a transatlantic communication. Only in this circumstance, you have received a response.
We don't know. Maybe the ape did hear back.
Well,
what was his name? Marconi in 1901.
It's our fiction, so I think broadly we're able to do whatever we like with it, but obviously that's reliant on consensus. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess for people that maybe weren't here last week or who need an update, last week we were looking at a Canadian coin. I think it might have been a 10. And we were discussing, as part of a wider discussion about whether or not you would turn your back on the monarch or the tail side and what the tail side, implied. We found an example, if we can get this up here, one in which there is both monarch and what we at the time said moose, monarch or moose.
Oh, God.
Which raised
Have you got
a big problem.
Right, yes. Go on.
Because obviously that's two heads and two very dangerous animals. Not to call the queen an animal, but you know what I mean. So I sent a message to my Canadian friend, said, hey, I'm on a stream about coins, blah, 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 and we're debating what the front of a coin is, head or tails, but a Canadian coin is two heads, moose and queen. So do you guys still do heads and tails in a sports coin toss, or do you call it something else? Hope you're well. Kiss. And she said, it's actually a caribou, not a moose. But she thanked me very much. And she says, yes, we say heads and tails. Queen is always heads, regardless of the coin. But then, she said very confusingly, loony, queen and loonbird, and toony, queen and polar bear, with no other sort of grammar in place in that sentence. But after asking for what she was talking about, she confirms that those are types of coins. So slang in Canada for coins would be a loony and a toony.
Wow.
Based on whether or not the animal was a loonbird or a polar bear. And I forgot to ask why a polar bear results in a coin being called a toony.
Well, I'm sure that's something that we can get to the bottom of now. Why is
I think, off the top of my head, it might be to
toony.
I think it's to create a sort of a neat dovetail with loony. So you've got loony, toony. That's probably the only reason.
According to this, a $2 coin, or toonie, as Canadians have named it, features the image of an adult polar bear in early summer on an ice floe. So I think it could just be a sort of not a contraction, or maybe a contraction of $2. So toonie. So it relates to the denomination of coin. Seemingly, that seems like, to me, a fairly decent explanation there. Sorry, there's just some conversation in the house chat about the reassembly of a chair, which is due to go outside to be either collected by the bin men or collected by whoever passes the house who fancies a chair. I shouldn't have got so distracted reading that, but I did, and for that I can only apologise. Quickly, Al Jazzers says, dinner is ready, guys. Thanks for an interesting couple of hours. I shall return for the next one. Have a great Sunday. So I think what we must say is thank you, boss. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope you have a superb dinner. Sam, do you have any comments for Al before he... I mean, he might already have jagged off. We don't know.
Yeah, cheers, Chief. See you, see you back out there on the bird watching field for some more jizzing, and hope not to get gripped off by you anytime soon whilst looking for some butterbutts and, crag munchers, whatever things you call birds nowadays.
Absolutely. So thank you, Al. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for being you and going about having a wonderful time and looking after yourself as far as nutrition is concerned. Nice one, guys. His final remarks from Al here. Nice to meet you, Sam. We shall jizz soon. All the best. So you'll be gripping one another off in no time at all, COVID permitting. So we've covered the Canadian question, as everyone was calling it. The big Canadian question has been answered, and the answer is, of course, loony or toony, depending on what coin it is, and the side with the queen on it is the head. So that's that dealt with.
Always heads, regardless.
Always heads, regardless. So, I think we're absolutely racing through the various questions that anyone might have on the subject of coins, and it probably shouldn't take us too long to have completed the subject of coins. I'm sure that we're pretty close to having discussed everything that there is to discuss with regard to coins. I'm just trying to see if I've got another one that would be good to display. I do.
You think so? I'll be honest, man. I think there's a world out there. We've not even touched on half of the stuff that I was gonna.
So you reckon this can run and run?
Yes. I think if the interest is there for it.
Wonderful.
Well,
I
genuinely think
I'm more than happy for that. This.
Well, have a think about it.
No. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to nail my colours to the mast now. I'm happy to go on discussing coins for a good life. I mean, not necessarily tonight, but certainly in the future. To keep going. This is a pretty good one, I think. Just maybe, should we make this our final coin for today?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay.
If it's a good one.
It's a pretty good one. That seems to be the extent of the zooming in that I'm able to do. It is, I don't know if you can, you probably can't see, I can barely see on the screen. It is from Nepal.
Yeah, I feel like I can see a sort of pagoda.
Yeah. It is.
And it is.
Well,
Oh.
That presents a challenge.
That could go either way.
Yeah, to the those familiar with the Roman alphabet. Is it the Roman alphabet? Am I talking absolute shit? What's our alphabet?
I can't see.
What's
the Latin alphabet?
The Latin alphabet, is it? Yeah, fair fucks.
I think so.
Then that is pretty difficult to tell what is the right way up and what isn't. I think.
What language is it in?
Well, it's Nepali.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's it's a
I
completely.
got confused because you brought up our alphabet.
It's a completely I was just trying to say it's a completely different script. So I'm not really. I don't think it's really my wheelhouse. I think it's a verti. I think it's another verti. but I don't.
I couldn't tell at this resolution.
No, well, I
to be
apologise
honest.
for that.
It's a really interesting question that it's thrown up, though. What if there were a coin that could flip along either?
Well, it would presumably have to be one that has no lettering on the. What would that be? Would that be the on side? So I think this doesn't seem to have a value. This doesn't seem to have a value, so I think that's the off then.
Okay, well, this coin is throwing everything out the window, isn't it?
Yeah.
Into jeopardy here, because it's got no on, no off, and it's a double flipper.
Well, I mean, we don't know if it's a double flipper. All I'm saying is that I don't necessarily know what the sort of intended orientation of the script on this side is, so I can't tell.
I think it's worth bearing in mind that there probably are coins that have a purely aesthetic design that have no, state leader or monarch or cultural figure or animal they wish to depict, but merely want to. What is the word for in Buddhism, that incredibly intricate art that they make as a form of meditative experience? What is that called?
I think that on this occasion you are presuming a level of knowledge on my part that does me too much credit.
Okay.
Buddhist term for intricate art as a form of meditation.
Get it all in. All the words, get them in.
Mandala?
Is
that it?
Yeah, that's it, mandala.
Okay. A mandala is a spiritual
and what they said,
and ritual symbol in Asian cultures. It can be understood in two different ways: externally as a visual representation of the universe, or internally as a guide for several practices that take place in many Asian traditions, including meditation.
So I got to say, first off, I mean, apologies to anybody who, feels like what we're seeing on this coin isn't a mandala. That was just the thing that jumped into my head.
Yeah.
It's mostly I'm mostly familiar with it through sand art, because when I did I did a gig in a hip cafe in Manchester, and it was like my first ever gig, and it was called the Arts Cafe. And immediately before I went on, a man came up to me and sold me a bag of sand,
right,
that he said would bring me luck. And and I thought, well, obviously gig nerves are getting to you, so you'll do anything. So yeah, I think it was like I paid him and got this £5 bag of sand, and the gig went well. And then for the next 2 years, because of that link that I'd formed, I took that sand with me to every gig. And basically it's sand from this Buddhist, I don't want to say festival, but like religious tradition, where the Dalai Lama and all these different Buddhist monks will come together, and they will spend, I think it's like several weeks, building a massive scale sand mandala. And so you'll be ascribed this very small section, you see.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to make you think about your place within life, because you spend 4 weeks, sometimes in this semi-conscious state, just focusing on your incredibly small, intricate, very small area of sand. And at the end of it, you sit up for the first time and you look and you see to the extent of it all. And I think it's supposed to be that kind of Aldous Huxley Doors of Perception style paradigm shift that it creates. And anyway, for some reason he had stolen some of the sand in a bag. Oh, and I should say, sorry, at the end of it then, after making this beautiful work of art, they wreck it.
Right. I think that
much like you would after building some Lego or something, and it's about the impermanence of life.
Or like putting your props in a bin at the end of an Edinburgh run.
Yeah. It's certainly sort of ego death.
Yeah. A comparable scale as well. I think finishing your run of twerk in progress or
is comparable to
men at twerk.
One of us. central religious practices of Buddhism.
Yeah, bidding your notepad from
It's
that.
actually saying,
Getting rid of the getting rid of the cardboard cutout of a cultural figure that you had.
Yeah, I've thrown away stuff before, mate.
We have just been joined by, a couple of moments ago, but Sam was in full flow, so I didn't want to upset his rhythm there, describing Buddhism and a personal recollection of something. Pete and Orlise have joined us and have joined with the message, "Hi guys, how are the coins?" Well, the coins have been a jumping off point for a number of very interesting questions and sort of thought experiments, and we have started to nail down a sort of unified nomenclature for coins, or for unified slang for coins. So we have arrived at a term for, obviously I'll get this Nepalese coin out of the way because it will come to later as something that has complicated matters somewhat. We have arrived at a term for coins which flip on the horizontal axis, which is a hozi, and of course the side with...
this is based off bird-watching slang as well. It's an important...
Yeah, so there was a discussion of bird-watching slang earlier, and so we decided to arrive at our own slang for coins, which I think is long overdue, to be fair, and I'm surprised that none of the absolute fanaticists have really bothered to do this beforehand. And I could research whether they have, but I'm not going to, because that would be...
Numismatist fanaticists.
Yeah, is numismat...
A numismatist is a coin collector.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah,
and numismatics is the collecting of
coins. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a hozi, a horizontal flipper. That's the offside with the queen on, or with I think we were saying that the side that doesn't have the value on it is the off. And the
because
side...
you activate the value of the coin by turning it on.
Yeah. And so we've hosed that off, and then you can hos it back on. At rare occasions, you may come across a verti, as this, we believe, Moroccan coin is. So that's the on side, and then you convert it off onto this side here with a fella.
Or push it up.
And then obviously you've got the rim. Should a hozi or a verti go badly wrong, or be sort of midway through taking place, you'll end up on.
Or I think we said it could also be called edged, where you edge a coin.
Or you can edge it, yeah. So those were the terms that we've arrived at. I'm trying to think what else has been covered. Sam would not be impressed if he were to head into a jungle clearing and discover that a chimp had managed to assemble its own car, because his opinion is that cars have already been invented, so for a chimp to then create a car would...
It's just getting involved in the zeitgeist, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're suggesting that a chimp that were to build its own car from scratch without prior knowledge of a car is still something of a clout chaser?
Well, yeah, I think you look at the history of inventions and you'll see that every major breakthrough is always accompanied by someone who was just behind, Alexander Graham Bell and the other guy, John Logie Baird and the other guy. There's always... These ideas always arrive at the same time, which I think suggests to me that there are no great pioneers or breakthroughs, very simply ideas that arrive because a certain milestone has been reached in science.
So you're suggesting that people... sort of technological advancements are not something that occurs in any sort of leap or bound, but rather a sort of slowly rising water level that then arrives at certain milestones. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I
like
think
a kind
you
of
know, looking at
progress bar on a video game or something like that. You get to a certain stage, and then you're like, we've got teleportation now.
yeah, I guess video games could be an interesting way of looking at it, in that you play a video game and you are given the illusion that you are very good at the game, that you are making progress, whereas really, you know, you're progressing along a linear narrative that always had to have been completed and was always impossible to kind of fail in a
Hmm.
way.
What would you say if you were to arrive
Um,
in a jungle clearing and you came across a chimp playing a, a game not dissimilar to, let's say, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto 5, that another chimp standing by had programmed?
okay. How do so, and I know because I talked to the zookeeper again and I say, did you give him
No,
this?
this is a
And
clearing. This is a jungle clearing. It's not in a zoo now.
oh, okay, right. So I'm just assuming. Um,
Well,
yeah,
all of the dialogue options are in chimp.
right. Okay, so we have to assume it's been programmed by a chimp.
Yeah, and all of the
I think
situations that
if
occur within are pretty chimp centric.
they're in their chimp cars and listening to like the chimp radio that they made, transatlantic chimp FM,
Yeah. Hey, chimp! It's your cousin Chimp. Let's go and eat some
yeah,
bananas.
running over a school of chimp nuns.
Yeah.
I don't think I've played Grand Theft Auto since Grand Theft Auto 2, so I mean, yeah. I gotta say, I think at this point we have crossed a Rubicon beyond the use of the word impressed. I think what I am experiencing here just goes beyond any sort of familiar emotion into the realm of the unknown. So I think I'd have to stick with again. I'm not impressed.
Pissing myself has returned and asks, "Are we back in the chimp clearing?" And the answer is yes. On this occasion, Sam Nicoresti has come across a chimp which has programmed its own version of Grand Theft Auto, and it, again is not impressed, but is suggesting that perhaps the language of being impressed is insufficient for the emotions that would be experienced upon stumbling across the chimp in question.
Yeah, it's a good summary.
Yeah. And we've got the Wikipedia page for Mandala open as well, which hints at some discussions which might have taken place prior to this. It's a lot of ruse, isn't it?
What's this now? We've gone on to another coin.
Wow. Yeah, well, I panicked. I'll be honest. I panicked and I picked up a coin that had a lot of stuff going on. It's another Australian coin. Obviously, we've already covered some Australian coins, but this is $1. I think we were at 50 cents previously.
Remind me what the 50 cents was. Was that this week or last week?
That was last week. I'll have to grab one. They're behind on the pile of coins which I discarded. I didn't discard them, but I put them to one side to
Demarcated them.
yeah. So it's a big un.
Oh wow,
It's a big
that's
un.
a big one, isn't it? Yeah.
It is a big un. There's no other word for it.
I do remember this one. Big one.
Yeah. It's a Hozzy. No, it's a Verti. Sorry, that's a Verti.
And it's a stiffy as well.
It's a Verti and a stiffy. Are we saying that's because it's yes, it's a stiffy. That's another term that should be defined, Pete and Lise. Stiffy simply is a coin as opposed to a note, which is a
rigid currency.
Rigid. So a couple of questions here from the chat. Pete and or Lise have asked whether coin cam and sky cam are the same cam pointed in different directions, referring to a very unsuccessful stream I did of a fishing game yesterday. They are different cameras. Coin cam is my phone mounted on. Let me just see if I can just briefly move the other cam. So this is my phone mounted on mounted on a sort of tripod, looking down, and
Phone cam.
yeah, and the webcam, which I've just used to show you, coin cam, is a new webcam that I bought, which is what was used for Skycam yesterday. So that's all the relevant information there. Josie Russell has asked how many sides this coin has, so I will need to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't remember where I started.
Start at the top.
Start at the top. Yeah, start at the top of the queen's
And
head.
go
1,
clockwise
2,
around the coin.
3,
That's the way to do it.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It is a 12-sided coin.
Ooh. Want to have a guess at the name of that?
It's not a dodecahedron, is it?
I think a dodecahedron is 20-sided, isn't
20,
it?
is it?
Or is
yeah,
that,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
No, that's
absolutely right.
I know.
think.
I don't think. I think it. It's D&D stuff now, isn't it? I think a 20-sided might be an isodecahedron or something like that.
Isodecahedron. Josie also says dodecahedron, so let's just dodecagon.
I think dodecahedron is just the go-to hedron name for when you're in doubt.
Dodecagon. In geometry, a dodecagon or 12gon, which I do not like at all. Look at that.
Dodecagon.
12gon.
Yeah, you're quite right. Because I think it's a hedron is a 3D.
Yeah.
Object. Yeah. Sorry about that.
However, we could pop over to this definition from Wolfram Math World just very quickly, and also I can get rid of this text now. We don't need the poll. What should a coin which flips on the? Because we've decided. So this is Wolfram Math World. The web's most extensive mathematics something. But this is not really relevant to our questions.
Can I just take a quick toilet break?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much longer we want to go on for, to be honest. I also need the loo. Do you think we've?
Oh. Well, I'd love to know. I'd love to quick confirmation on what a 20-sided figure would be, and if it is iso dodecahedron or whatever it was. I thought it was.
Icosagon. It's a 20-sided polygon.
Oh, okay, so I had the right sort of idea, but I was just totally wrong.
I mean, well, it's a truncated decagon or a twice truncated pentagon. This, I don't think we can really get into this now. I think this is a discussion for another time.
I just wanted to know what the word was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even that. I don't know, man. Shall we reconvene next week?
I'd love to. If
You're
people
free?
are, up for it.
Yeah.
I'm always free.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot. Brilliant. So, I forgot what's going on. Wonderful.
Yeah,
well,
I didn't do anything.
I also need a piss, so let's wrap this up pretty quickly. Any final remarks?
Just thanks for having me back, and thanks for everybody who's kind of tuned in again. It's fun for me to be here, and I hope we get to do some more.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And I'm sorry for having to go at
Sammy the Tammy.
That Scottish football Sammy the Tammy.
Well, I think Baldy will appreciate your apology for besmirching the good name of Sammy the Tammy. Well, thank you so much, Sam Nicoresti, our special Sunday guest, giving us his Sunday best on Sunday, the 21st of February 2021. Thank you to everyone in the chat who has joined us once again. We'll be back next Sunday. I will be back on Thursday and possibly some other time in the week. But until then, have a lovely life, enjoy yourselves, and we will see you next time. There we go. All wrapped up.
This stuff.